Hello everybody and welcome to Langer's Legion. I'm Langer and let's talk Star Wars Legion. And in today's video, in tune with the holiday season, I thought I'd put together a wish list or a Christmas list for what I'd like to see from Atomic Mass Games. So let's get into it. And this video is really going to lean more into the wish aspect of a wish list. Like we know from Mini Stravaganza, link up here, what's kind of on the short-term and long-term roadmap from Atomic Mass Games. But in the spirit of Christmas, I thought I would put together my own kind of like wish list of what I would really like to see. And this really leans into kind of back when I was a kid and we would get the, the JCPenney catalog for Christmas or the Sears catalog. My brother and I would just spend hours, flipping through the pages and circling the various Star Wars stuff that we were hoping to get. In this video, I'm just kind of talking about the Star Wars stuff I'm hoping to get, maybe just down the road from Atomic Mass Games. So in no particular order, let's get into it. And the first thing for me is bounty hunters. I mean, I know we've got a lot currently in the game already, both for Empire and Rebels and some of the other factions, but really we're missing half of the Murderer's Row that was shown in Empire Strikes Back, right? We've got Boba Fett, we got Bosk, we've got IG, kind of through the Mandalorian with IG-11 and IG-88. But what we're really missing now is Dengar, 4-LOM, and Zuckuss. And, 6-year-old me still's got his Dengar here and his Zuckuss, 3.5 inch or 3.25 inch Kenner figurine right there. And I'd like to really see the rest of those guys flushed out just because, I mean, it's a key part or a key scene in Empire Strikes Back. But also, the new bounty hunters really wouldn't need to end there, right? Now, granted, that's more from, let's say, the original trilogy, but we've entered more bounty hunters over the years, whether it be through Clone Wars or other kind of media and sources. So we can get Jaws Amari and Mercurial Swift. Jaws Amari, for those that might not be familiar, is from the book series Aftermath, which is a really good, 3-part series. We've got Fennec Shand from Clone Wars and, of course, Mandalorian, Aura Singh. I mean, there's just so many other bounty hunters out there that we could be adding, both for Empire, Rebel, Gar as well. I mean, we could even give Leia a dual role as we, incorporate Bosch as her role from Return of the Jedi. And of course, I mean, where's Greedo? Han shot first.
Yes, I bet you have.
I think Greedo would be a great addition to the bounty hunter lineup as well. And we could probably play a lot of these cross-faction. And another little tidbit for the Aftermath sensor, Dengar makes an appearance, again, from that original Murderer's Row, and he could actually be, maybe for the Rebels. I know he started playing both sides of the coin for the New Republic in that book series, but just some things to think about. Next up, and I think this is probably something everybody's long been asking for, is where are the more Force users, or specifically the Jedi users, for Galactic Republic and Rebels. I mean, the fact that we still don't have Mace Windu, or a true Plo Koon card, or Kit Fisto, just so many of the great Jedis that we saw from the Clone Wars series and from the movies. I just think these are no-brainers, and I'm not sure why AMG at least hasn't even teased these or shown them on the roadmap. I mean, I know, and I'm not trying to cross streams here a little bit, but Shatterpoint has already gotten a plethora of these Force users through its already, kind of first, 9 months that it's been out. And of course, I'm sure AMG's focus has been a little bit there. But come on, we need more Jedis for Gar. These are easy pickings, right? And I think these are ones that folks would go out and just pick up, right? Especially Mace Windu. For the Rebels, this becomes a little bit more challenging. Obviously, post-Galactic Civil War, I mean, all of the Jedis are hunted. We've got Luke. So maybe you get an old man Luke, kind of like we have an old man Boba. But you could get Kanan Jarrus and Ezra Bridger from the Rebel series. Obviously, those are known names both from the cartoon as well as those that folks may have followed. Ahsoka series on Disney Plus would have been introduced to Ezra. So there is a way that they could fold in a couple extra Jedi, at least into the Rebels in that regard. And granted, I'm sure there's other ones in the books that I don't know. If there's other Rebel Jedis folks would like to see, post the comments down below. How about taking some more inspiration from the other Star Wars movies? And more specifically, I'm talking about Rogue One and Solo. Rogue One, we've already got K2SO, we got Cassian, Jane Erso, Krennic, Death Trooper, so on and so forth. But, you know, come on, let's wrap that up. We don't have Boz or Chirrut, and we don't have Saw Gerrera. Those would be great additions to the Rebels. Those could be operatives, or maybe even Saw Gerrera could be a commander. And you could even maybe dual role him a little bit. You know, he was first introduced in the Clone Wars, so maybe you kind of make him work with Gar, and then maybe a later version can work with Rebels. I don't know. There's just a lot of freedom there. And you've already opened the door. You've got most of the main characters from Rogue One. Now let's talk about Solo. Again, I've said this many times in other videos. I really like Solo. I think it's a good movie. I'm not saying it's a great movie, but it's a good heist movie, because that's really kind of what it is, as well as an origin story. And we do know, and link right here, that we are going to see some units from the Solo movie from Mini Stravaganza, where we see the range troopers coming in. And, you know, AMG teases a little bit. We don't know if they're going to be Special Forces or Core, but they're dabbling in that Solo movie. So why not open the door there? We could get a young Han Solo, a young Lando, a young Chewie. We could get Tobias Beckett, aka another bounty hunter. He could play with Shadow Collective with Dryden Voss, who, you know, that all falls into the Shadow Collective kind of theme of things. So you could kind of poke those guys in there, and again, kind of sprucing up those factions. And I think kind of seeing younger versions of these characters. I mean, they would be lower cost, probably not as powerful, but I think it might be an interesting mechanic or something new to introduce into Legion. Now let's talk about Mandalorians. We've got some Mandalorians already in the game between Sabine Wren, Boba Fett, Old Man Boba, Din Djarin, Super Commandos, and Mandalorian Resistance. So we've got a lot of Mandalorians right now, but let's add some more named ones. And more specifically, I'm thinking of like maybe Bo-Katan as an operative. You could add Ask Woves, Koska Reeves, all these other folks that you could add to it in an operative, maybe commander type role. But on top of that, with all these existing Mandos and maybe just sprinkling in a couple more, why don't we have a Mandalorian battle force? And I think that would be, even with what we've got, it might be kind of hard to string it together, but I think that's something that you could, that AMG could put together. It could be print to play like we've seen with the recent ones with the droids and the Wookiee defenders. That would be a really easy one. They could even just create new unit cards for the Mando Resistance or the Super Commandos. Use the same models, but maybe you make a different card and treat them as core, or treat, you know, maybe reduce their costs than the Special Forces. I don't know. But there's a lot of different ways to do it. I think a Mando Battle Force is probably the next on the list after we've kind of knocked all these other ones out. So I think that's another great kind of wish list item I'd like to see from AMG. And finally, wrapping things up, and this is a real serious one for me. I'd like to see it sooner rather than later. Is an upgrade card pack. Like upgrade card pack 2 for those that have tried to go out and get it. I don't know if it's out of print, but you just can't find those anywhere. And there's some key upgrade cards as well as unit cards in there that people like to get, but I'd also like to see upgrade pack 3. We've gotten a lot of new battle forces. We got Tempest Force, which is basically a print to play, but I'd like to see physical command cards. I'm that guy. I like to have the real things. I mean, I can print them, but I don't know. I just still kind of like having original or official cards. So you've got Tempest Force command cards. We've got these other battle forces, specifically with the droids and the Wookiees, where they introduced upgraded units or new units for those battle forces. I'd like to see, you know, printed versions of those. And as well as we've had some points changes since the last ones. We had a point errata, what was that, back in April, May of this year. It would just be nice to see maybe point upgrades to the units that were impacted by that. Maybe not as important. Again, I'm a physical card guy. I like to have them. But let's see an upgrade pack 3 sooner rather than later, AMG. But with that kind of wraps up my quick Christmas wish list. What are your thoughts and comments? What would you like to see on your wish list from AMG? You know, post them in the comments down below and, you know, maybe have a conversation. Do you agree with what I got here, or what did I possibly miss? And finally, I would like to say at the recording of this video, we have passed 300 subs. So for those that have subscribed to the channel, I really want to thank you for that. As well, we had a record month in views. For those that didn't sub, but you still watched the content and left a comment or a like, I really appreciate it. Keep that coming, and I'll hopefully keep the good content rolling out the door that you all appreciate and want to actually watch. Until then, see you next time.